Now everybody knows who I am.
Sammy Terry.
Good evening. I am delighted you could be here this evening.
And as hostess, we're going to have a very good friend of mine who should be walking in by now. And here she is, Miss Wilhelmina. That was a very hectic 2 weeks because Art Hook was a program director, and he purchased just as soon as it came on the market, he purchased what they call the shock package of movies. And this was the old original horror movies, the Karloffs and the Bela Lugosi's and the Mummy and the Frankensteins, the Wolfman and so on. And the day that they signed the contract and mailed it back to Hollywood, Bernie Sowers, who was just a salesman then, he later ended up owning part of the station and doing all sorts of things, but he went out and he came back in that afternoon and he says, "Hey, I just sold a half sponsorship of Shock Theater. It goes on the air in 2 weeks." We didn't have a complete list of the titles. We had absolutely no artwork, no pictures, no storylines, no nothing. And at that time, there were only about 30 of us in the station. So we were all doing many different things, and I was a producer, director, announcer, and I was doing all the on-the-air promotion. And the fellow who was doing Noah Miller, who, God rest his soul, has been dead for a number of years now, but he was doing the print. I put a voice with some music for the promotions, and as soon as I finished the tape, and all we had then was audio tape. There was no videotape then. This was still in the days of black and white, live, down and dirty. And Bernie took the tape down to the sponsor and said, "Hey, listen to this. This is how we're going to promote your show." The sponsor takes one listen to it, and he says, "I want him to introduce my show commercials." Oh, fine. By this time, there was only about 10 days left before the first show, and we didn't have a name, we didn't have a character, we didn't have a show. So we threw it together. Bernie's wife, Lou, sewed my first cowl. I had a black windbreaker that I put on backwards. And we had a great big coffee table that was, it looked horrible. But it was a great big coffee table that we put down on the floor. We had a broken lamp in the form of a rooster, and that was on the center of the table. And then we took some lath and made a picture window frame behind me. I sat on the floor with my legs underneath the table. And that's how we did the first shows for, a number of weeks. And of course, by that time, we came up to about we were, 3-4 days before airtime. Still didn't have a name. We kept talking about it and one thing and another, and finally we came up with Sammy Terry. The name for the show was easy, Shock Theater, because it was the shock package. And so we came in, and Art Hook, who was program director, he had done some things with theater, makeup, and so on, so he spent hours in here in the studio doing makeup on my face, trying to come up with some kind of a face that, and none of them would look right on camera. Finally, we got things down to the day before we went on the air, but we still didn't have a script. And so the way we did the script was that I came on. It was easy to introduce the movie. I think the first movie we had in the series was The Mummy, and that's one of my favorites, and I know the storyline, and so it was easy to introduce the movie. But then I had to do a bit to introduce the sponsor's commercial on every commercial rollout in the show. So while the people were watching the movie, the crew and I were sitting around dreaming up what I was going to do next. And that's the way that's the way the show got started. And it went for, several weeks, and finally got around to the point where, I guess it was about, maybe 3 months later, after the show had been on the air, we finally got around to having a written script with cue cards and all of that kind of thing. But up until then, it was strictly ad lib, literally off the seat of my pants on the floor with my legs under the table. And I can't remember how long it was before we finally got a coffin and actually had a set.
Even though Sammy Terry has been off the air since 1989, the demands for personal appearances continue.
I have on my desk at the store right now, I have a note that I've got to call a lady Monday and tell her that I no longer do birthday parties.
The store Bob refers to is the Family Music Center, where Sammy Terry's alter ego has been selling music and musical instruments to Indianapolis families for decades.
But I have a standing thing there that I don't talk about Sammy Terry. I just talk about music. Because if I did, and I'd sign autographs and laugh and do, we would get a lot of Sammy done. We wouldn't be able to sell any music. And I'm very, very thankful for that people remember and like that well. It's a wonderful feeling there's a lot of love.
Good evening. Welcome to 2 maddening hours of horror and fright. I am Sammy Terry. Every night is forbidding in black. The long, dark shadows set apart from the rest of the inky night by silvery pools of light from the cold, frosty-looking moon. And on certain evenings such as this, your mind can stray from the path of reality and lead you into a maze of suspicion and fear. For behind every bush and tree, hiding in the haven-hued shadows, a fiendish maniac is waiting just for you. He'll pounce on you out of nowhere and with insane fury ravage you, while a twinkling star in the heavens appears to be coming closer and closer. It isn't a star, it isn't an airplane, no, it's not a comet or a meteor. It might be a UFO from outer space bent on destroying you. You run madly